Hey guys, when I was entering high school, I had a lot of questions to ask, what to do, what not to do, what kind of classes to take, what not to take, but I never really had anyone to ask for advice. So based on my experience as a current high school junior, here's just a few tips for sophomores, freshmen, and incoming high school students as to how to make their high school experience the best it can be without taking on too much stress. So without further ado, let's get to the video. Tip number 1, make a schedule. One of the most important things to do for just about any high schooler is to make a schedule. Managing homework, extracurriculars, familial obligations, and more without some sort of scheduling tool is next to impossible, which is why I highly recommend for incoming high school students, current sophomores, and freshmen to invest in a schedule, as well as high schoolers in general, to be honest. If you're a junior and senior, you could definitely benefit from some sort of schedule. The reason I recommend starting earlier onwards is because by the time you're in junior year and senior year, you'll have so many more obligations than you do early onwards, and getting into this habit early on is just really nice and convenient, so later on you need to worry about changing your habits just to implement this into your daily life. And by this, I mean making a schedule. Tip number 2. Set up a constant sleep schedule. I myself used to be very guilty of not following this tip during my sophomore and freshman years of high school, but as an upperclassman, I can definitely recognize the importance of setting a consistent sleep schedule. You'll feel more refreshed and less dull when you wake up with a proper sleep schedule, which will greatly increase chances for a positive attitude throughout the day. And remember, it takes around 3 days to set up a proper sleep schedule, so definitely start early. While the best time to start may have been a few years ago, the second best time is now, so please do get to it. By the way, when I say proper sleep schedule, I don't necessarily mean starting at 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, even 11 o'clock. As long as you get anywhere between 7 to 9 hours of sleep, that should be good enough for the average growing teenager. So sleeping at 12, 1, 2 even, if your school starts late, might still be acceptable as long as you stick to it and get a constant amount of sleep by sleeping at the same time every night and sleeping between 7 to 9 hours per day. Moving forward, tip number 3, stay connected with friends. Especially now when most of us are just getting the chance to get vaccinated and see each other after long periods of virtual learning, I cannot emphasize how crucial friends are in order to succeed in high school. You might be like, well, Raj, I have no friends. If you have no friends, that's not an excuse for not actively trying to make friends. I know it's hard, and not everyone is extroverted enough to just sort of walk up and be like, yo, let's be friends. Which brings me to my 4th tip, which is join clubs. Clubs are an excellent way to find people with common interests in high school, as well as truly discover your own passion early onwards. I found many of my closest friends through clubs I joined, so joining clubs is definitely a fantastic way for underclassmen and incoming high school students to make friends if you don't have many right now. And another tip for finding your passion by joining clubs is, kind of like what I did in my freshman year. Join as many clubs as possible and slowly weed out the ones that you don't find appealing until you're only left with the organizations that you're like, I can definitely see myself doing this for the next 4 years and maybe the rest of my life if I want to go into something like this. For example, joining your school's computer science club might not appeal to you, but maybe your school's business club is super appealing to you. And by using this sort of judgment, this I like this, but I don't really like this, you sort of isolate the passion that you want to focus on. But that does bring me to tip number 5. Don't make your entire life about getting into a top college. This is a tricky point because most of the people checking out videos like this one are probably eager underclassmen or incoming high schoolers getting for top 20 colleges. And my advice to you, as a student that goes to a very competitive college, competitive high school in a very competitive environment, is as follows. Don't throw away your happiness just to get into a T20. I'm not saying don't aim for a top college. If that's your goal, that is an excellent and admirable goal. Definitely go for it, but please make sure to enjoy high school as well. We only go through this journey once, so please be sure to enjoy all the time you have from 9th to 12th grade. If you're still adamant on grinding though, here's what I recommend for your freshman and sophomore years. In my opinion, I am in no way a professional high school counselor or a college counselor, my apologies, and I am not being paid by anybody to say any of these things, and I'm not asking for payment. This is just my opinion based on what I've seen work for my friends that have gotten to excellent colleges, as well as what I've done myself and what I found that has worked so far. Freshman year, focus on keeping your grades as high as possible and isolate a core passion to focus your extracurriculars on for the next couple of years until you're applying for college. And if you're really ambitious, take maybe one AP test just to get a feel of what they're like. Sophomore year, take a few AP classes if your school allows you to do so, while keeping a rigorous schedule, but at the same time, keep grinding extracurriculars and make sure you're not falling behind there as well. But most importantly, in my opinion, try to take the SAT this year. Taking SAT your sophomore year is an excellent way to reduce stress later onwards. Most people like myself take it during their junior year, but this year is generally the one with the biggest academic load. So getting this major SAT or ACT actually, if you choose to take the ACT, done as early as possible will definitely help you out. And just to note about grades in general, please don't stress out about 1 or 2 Bs. 1 or 2 Bs will not make or break your transcript, I promise. No top college will reject you for 1 or 2 Bs. With that, that's what I would consider 5 very important tips for a current underclassmen and incoming high school students. If you guys want a part 2 with more tips, please let me know. With that, like if you liked, dislike if you disliked, subscribe either way, please, and I'll see you guys in another time. Thank you.